Hello, welcome to next session. In this session, we will solve solid mechanics paper of grade 2010. Okay. So, question 1 to question 9 carry 1 mark each. Question 1 is three forces acting on a particle are given as F1 is equal to 5I plus 6J Newton, F2 is equal to minus I plus 4K Newton, and F3 is equal to I plus 6J plus 16K Newton, where I, J, K are the unit vectors along Cartesian coordinate axis. Which one of the following statements is true? Option A. Forces are coplanar and the particle is in equilibrium. Forces are coplanar but the particle is not in equilibrium. C. Forces are not coplanar but the particle is in equilibrium. D. Forces are not coplanar but the particle is in equilibrium. Okay. Now, the, from dot product of the vector, we know that the angle between two planes is cos theta is equal to n1 and 2 and magnitude of n1 divided by magnitude of n1 and magnitude of n2. Okay. So if we check for first two vectors, that is f1 and f2, then the angle between them is, we can find out by dot product 5i plus 6j dot minus I plus 4k divided by 25 plus 30 or 25 plus 36 root 1 plus 60 root. Okay, so from this we have cos theta 1 is equal to minus 5 root 41 and root 70. Okay, so they are not coplanar because there exists an angle between them. Okay, and which is not zero. Okay, similarly if we check f2 and f3, we also find the angle between them. Okay, so these are also not coplanar. Okay, and the resultant of uh, three vectors is summation of I, j, and k, and summation of the unit vectors. Okay, so that is equal to 5i, 12j, and 20k. Okay, we add these vectors 5 minus 1, 4 plus 1, 5. Okay, 5i. Okay, and then for j it is equal to 6 plus 4, 10 plus 6, 6 plus, sorry, 6 plus 6, 12 is not jk. Okay, 12 and 4 plus 16. Okay, that is 20k. Okay, so resultant exists, so the particle is not equilibrium. So option B is correct. What is option B? The particle, the forces are not coplanar, and the particle is not in equilibrium. Okay. Next, a truss a truss consisting of members AD, DC, AB, BD, and BC is subjected to a vertical force of 120 Newton at joint B, as shown in the figure. The members AD, DC, and BD are each of 1 meter length. The magnitude of force in the member BD is, so this is a truss A, B, C, D. Okay, and the option for the force in member ABD is A0, B 2 root 2, C 40, D 120. Okay, now as by taking moment about C, you can find out RA. Okay, so RA will be, suppose RA is vertical, RA into that distance is 2. Okay, because each member is of 1 meter, RA into 2 and 120 into 1. Okay, so RA will be 60. Similarly, RA plus, sorry, so RA is 60, so the other reaction is also 60. So RA plus RC is 60. Okay, now We found out RA. Now taking joint A. Okay. So add A here it is FBA. Okay. Force in member AB. Okay. And its reaction is FAB. Okay. That will be equal to RA. Okay. So that will be equal to RA. Okay. Now FBA is balancing RA. Okay. So vertical component will be FBA. Sorry. FBA cos 45. That will be equal to RA. Okay. Okay. So FBA will be 60 by cos 45. Okay. So FABB will be also 60 by cos 45. Now similarly we can find out FCB. Okay. So FCB will be 60 by cos 45. Now take joint B. Okay, take joint B. Now add B. There are three members AB, CB and DB and 120 kilonewton load is acting. Okay. So uh, balancing vertically FAB cos 45, FCB cos 45 plus FDB is equal to 120. Okay, so FDB is 0. So answer is A. So there is no force in DB. Okay, next two rigid bodies A and B are each weighing 30 Newton. Body A is kept on a floor and body B is kept on body B as shown in the figure. The coefficient of friction between two bodies and between body A and the floor is 0.1. If a horizontal force of 2 Newton is applied on body A, then frictional force at interface of body A and body B will be. So this is the figure. And the option is A is equal to 0, B is equal to 1, and C is equal to 2 Newton, and D is 3 Newton. So this is the body A that is acting on the, this is body A that is acting on that floor, and the body B is acting on A. Okay. Now, first of all, considering the limiting friction case. Okay. Now, if we consider limiting force of friction, okay, then the force of friction will be mu Rn. Okay, and mu Rn between A and floor and between B and A, it will be mu Rn one. Okay, Rn is reaction. Okay, so when we consider the surface between floor and body A, this is surface of floor, and this is body A, and the total weight of two bodies are 30 plus 30, 60, and Rn will be 60, and combined friction is zero point 0.1, and so the force of friction will be 3 Newton. Okay, sorry, 6 Newton. Now, if we consider the friction between B and A, then the force will be zero point 0.1 into 30, that is 300. Okay, so now the force of friction is comes out as 3 Newton, okay, between A and B, which is more than the applied force. So it is not the case of limiting friction. So it is a case of static friction. Now, when we consider body A and B, okay, and the movement of body A, okay, or the force is acting on body A, okay, and there is no movement of body A, okay. So then F dash C will be the force of friction on body A due to B. Okay, and F dash B will be the force of friction on body B due to A. Okay, and F dash A will be the force of friction due to this floor on body A. So the net force of friction between body on body A and B is F dash A plus F dash C. As it is a case of static friction, so static friction will be equal to that applied force. Then applied force is 2 Newton. So F dash A and F dash C uh, will be equal because the force is applied at the mid plane. So F dash C plus F dash A will be uh, 2 Newton because sorry. Uh, will be 2f dash c, because here there is no movement of body, static friction is there, so laws of limiting friction is not applicable. So answer is 1 Newton. So option B is the right answer. Okay. Next, a rigid link PQ is rotating about a revolute joint at P with a uniform angular velocity omega. A slider is sliding on the link with a relative velocity v. Which one of the following figure represents the correct direction of Coriolis component AC? Okay, so this is the figure. Okay, and omega is angular velocity, v is the velocity slider, and R is the slider, Q is the PQ is the link. Okay, and in option A, the Coriolis component is given in this direction. In option B, it is given in this direction. Okay, and in option C it is in left direction, and C and D in the right direction. So, so this is link, okay, and it is rotating with omega, okay, and V is the velocity of slider, okay. Now due to this rotation, the slider will reach at A dash, and due to upward movement, the slider will reach at A double dash. But actually the slider reaches at A triple dash. So this is due to the coalition component of acceleration. Okay. So A dash, A double dash, A triple dash is the coalition component of acceleration. Okay. So the coalition component of acceleration, when angular velocity is clockwise and movement of slider is upward, is in right direction. Okay, so answer will be, so when it is clockwise it is upward, so it should be like this. So when it is clockwise, and when the direction gets opposite, one of the direction gets opposite, then the also opponent will also get opposite. In this here the direction of the slider is anti-clockwise, and direction of the link PQ is anti-clockwise, and the direction of slider is clockwise. So one of the direction is changing. So position component will be, will also, the direction of position component will also change. Okay. So answer is C. Okay. Next, a bullet of mass m having a horizontal velocity of 500 meters per second hits a stationary block of mass 6.15 kg. The block breaks into two parts with Q mass of 3 kg and R mass of 3.15 kg. With the bullet embedded in R, the parts Q and R travel in the direction of initial velocity of the bullet. If the velocity of Q is 3 meter per second and velocity of R is 5 meter per second, mass of the bullet M is option A 5 kg, option B 0.5 kg, option C 0.05 kg, option D 0.005 kg. Okay. Now initially there is only bullet which is moving, so initial momentum is m into velocity of bullet is 500. Okay, and let m be the mass of bullet. Okay, that is initial momentum. Okay, now once the bullet hits the block, it gets divided into two parts. One part is of 3 kg and other part is of 3.15 kg. Okay, and bullet also gets embedded in the one of the block. Okay, okay, and the velocity of Q is 3 meter per second and velocity of R is 5 meters per second. So the final momentum will be uh, momentum of block Q, okay, mq into vq, and momentum of block and bullet, that is mr plus m into vr. Okay, so putting the value mq3 vq3 plus 3.15 plus m into 5. Okay, now equating 1 and equating 2. Okay, equating initial momentum and final momentum. So we can find out m. So m is 0.05 kg. Option C. Okay, option C. Next, two particles P and Q are initially at two ends of a circular arc, which subtends an angle of 120 degree at arc center. Okay, the radius of the arc is r. The particles P and Q are moving along the arc towards each other. Okay, with constant tangential velocities of Vp and Vq respectively. The distance traveled by the particle P when it meets the particle Q is option A 2 pi r by 3 bracket Vp by plus Vq by Vp B 2 pi r by 3 bracket Vp plus Vq by Q. Option C 2 pi r by 3 Vp divided by Vp plus Vq. D 2 pi r by 3 Vq divided by Vp plus Vq. Okay. So now, given that the angle subtended by the arc is 120 degree, okay, and radius is r, so the length of arc is r theta, or theta is 2 pi by 3, 120 degree. So length of arc is 2 pi r by 3. Okay. Now, suppose one of the particle is at one end, okay, another particle is at other end, okay. Let P is the particle at one end, Q is the particle at other end. Now, when they travel towards each other, suppose after time t they meet. Okay, so let t be the time after which both particles P and Q meet. Okay, now the distance traveled by the summation of the distance traveled by both the particles will be equal to length of arc. Okay, so the distance traveled by the P and distance traveled by Q is equal to 2 pi r by 3. So Vp into T plus Vq into T is equal to 2 pi r by 3. Okay, so T is now 2 pi r by 3 divided by Vp plus Vq. Okay, so the distance traveled by the particle P will be time into velocity of particle P. That time is the uh, time to reach, uh, time to meet the particle Q, or the distance, or uh, the duration of the uh, travel of particle P. Okay, so the distance traveled by particle P is time into Vp. Okay, so answer is your C. Next question. Which one of the following plane states of stress correspond to Mohr's circle of radius 0? Okay, so we know that the Mohr circle of radius uh, 0 is called uh, equal stretches in x and y direction. So answer is 4. That we have solved 2 or 3 times. Okay, it is asked in each and every exam. Okay, of solving mechanics. Okay, next, the maximum shear stress theory for material yielding is known as Tresca's criterion. Okay, maximum shear stress. Okay, next, in a cantilever beam of length 2 meters, shear force in Newton. Okay, along with the length given by Vx 5x scale, where x is the distance in meter measured from the fixed end. The magnitude of the load intensity at mid-span of the beam is option A 0, option B 1 Newton per meter, option C 5 Newton per meter, option D 10 Newton per meter. So the shear force is this 5x scale. Okay. Now we know that the uniformly distributed load is given by differentiation of shear force to x. Okay, that x is length of span of at a span of the sorry, x is span of the beam. Okay, or x is the distance from one end to the at a point. Okay, where the shear force is to be determined. Okay, so that differentiation is 5x square is equal to 10x. Okay, so at 1 meter So it means the uniform distributed load is varying with x. So it is uh, the intensity of loading is at 1 meter is 10 newton per meter. So answer is B. Okay. Next, two blocks P and Q are connected by a string. Now, 2 marks question. Okay, and to carry 2 marks if okay. Two blocks P and Q are connected by a string which passes over a pulley as shown in the figure. The block P is sliding on an inclined surface, ignoring masses of string and the pulley. The tension in the string is uh, optional given and use gravitational acceleration g is equal to 9.8 meter per second scale and neglect all friction. Okay. So here the block P and Q are given and angle is 60 degrees. The mass of block is 6 kg and mass of the Q block is 10 kg. Option R 55.2 and B 62.5, C 74.3, D 86.9. Okay. Now as the mass 10 kg is more than 6 kg, so the block will move downward. Okay. So the suppose A is the acceleration of the block Q, then MA will be the inertia force. Okay. And mg then g is the gravitation force and t is the tension in the string. Okay. Now considering the equilibrium of block Q. Okay. Now we have T. Suppose this is M2. Okay. So T plus M2A is equal to M2G. Sorry, sorry. Considering and sorry and considering the sorry P plus M2A plus M2G. M2 is 10 kg. Okay. So putting the value of M2, we get tension in the string that is 98.1 minus 10A. Okay. So tension is 98.1 minus 10A. Okay. Now considering the equilibrium of the block P, so and resolving this weight of the block P into two components, mg sin theta will be in this direction, mg mg cos theta will be in this direction, and mg sin theta will be in this direction. Okay, so resolving along the resolving along this. Okay, as there is no frictional force, so it will be so T is equal to m1 a plus m1g sin 30. Okay, here it should be mg cos theta. Okay, because this angle is bigger. Okay, and here by mistake it is mg sin theta here. It should be mg cos theta and this component should be mg sin theta. So this angle is 30, this angle is also 30. Okay, it's some mistake. Okay, but answer is correct. Okay, so 6a m1 is your 6. Okay, m1 is 6. So 6a plus 6 into 9.81 into 1 by 2 sin 31 by 2. So now we have t from this equation and we have t from this equation. Okay. Now equating these two, we can find out acceleration. Once acceleration is found, okay, we can put a in either of 1 or 2. So then we can find out t. Okay, that is 55.18 Newton. So option is A. Option is A. Okay. Next, a hollow circular shaft of inside diameter 10 mm and outside diameter 20 mm is subjected to a pure symmetric bending moment of 200 Newton meter. The magnitude of bending stress at a point in the plane of loading, which is at a distance of 5 mm from the neutral axis is option A 0, option B 68.8 MPa, option C 135.8 MPa, option D 271.6 MPa. Okay. So here the bending moment is given as 200 Newton meter. Okay. And outside and inside diameter are 20 mm, 10 mm. Okay. So and we have to find out the bending strength at a distance 5 mm. Okay, so y is 5. Okay, I is your 5 by 64, 24 by 10 4. Using bending equation, you can find out sigma. Okay, so that is 135.1 ampere. So answer is C. Okay, and by I, sigma by I is moment of inertia about x-axis. Okay, next. A stepped circular shaft made of steel is rigidly fixed at two supports A and C as shown in the figure. A torque of 680 Newton meter is applied on the shaft at point B. Okay, this is here the torque is applied as is 680 Newton meter. Okay. The diameter of the portion AB is twice that of portion BC. This diameter of this portion is twice that of. Okay. The magnitude of the torque reaction at the spot A and C respectively are, as the ends are fixed to the angle of twist between two parts where the torque is being applied will be equal and opposite. Okay, that condition will be used. Okay, so answer is 640 Newton. Sorry, answer. Sorry, options are 640 Newton per Newton meter, 40 Newton meter, B 40 Newton meter, 640 Newton meter, C 340 Newton meter, 340 Newton meter, D 544 Newton meter, 136 Newton meter. So here the 680 is the Newton meter load is sorry torque is applied being applied, and so T is the reaction at A, PA is the reaction at A, and PC is the reaction at C. Okay, now TA plus sorry TA plus TC, TB or TC PA plus T, so it should be PC. Okay, will be TA plus PC should be total torque and the angle of twist will be same. Okay, so it should be C. There should be. Okay. So it is TA and PC. Okay, by mistake it is TACB. Okay, change all the B into C. So it will be TA at this and TC at this. Okay. TA and TC in the direction here C. Okay. So by by equating angle of twist, angle of twist by using torsion equation PA into L divided by J into G is equal to TB into L divided by JB into G. So we can find out the ratio of torque, and then we can use uh, this PA plus TC is equal to 680, and then we can find out. Now change this B into T. Here should be C. Okay, and all the B should be C. Here it should be C. Okay, okay. So all the B will be C. Okay, here it should be C, and here it should be C again. Okay, this will be C. Okay, and this will be again C, and it should be C, C. Okay, all the B will be C. Okay. Next, So option A is the right answer. 640 and 14. Okay. Next, a thin-walled cylinder with open ends is subjected to uniform internal pressure of sorry, pressure P alone. The wall thickness is T1. The internal radius is R. The Young's modulus is E. The increase in the radius of the cylinder due to internal pressure is A0 B Pt square by 2ER C PR square by ET D PR square by ET plus R. Okay. As the cylinder is opened at both ends, okay, or it has open ends, okay, so there will be no longitudinal stress. There will be only force stress, which is given by sigma theta is equal to P by 2T. So then the circumferential strain will be sigma theta by E, and so this will be equal to P by 2T, and the circumference strain is del D by D or del R by R. Okay, so answer will be LR PR square into by PE. So answer is C option. Next, a cylindrical steel bar of uniform cross-sectional area is subjected to an axial tensile force P and a torque T, assuming linear elastic deformation of bar. The internal strain energy stored in the bar is 20 P square plus 8 T square bracket close into 10 to the minus 6 Newton meter. The axial extension of the bar for P is equal to 10 Newton and T is equal to 60 Newton meter is option A 256 micrometer, option B 400 micrometer, and C 2000 micrometer, D 2048 micrometer. Okay, now the strain energy is given as 12 P square plus 8 P square multiplied 10 raised to minus 6 Newton meter. Okay, now the axial extension. Okay, now we have to determine the axial extension. So there will be no extension of the bar due to this torque. So the extension of the bar will be only due to this load P. Okay, so we'll consider this part 12 P square into 10 minus 6, and we will find the strain energy due to load P and equate it equal to this 20 P square. Okay, into 10 to minus 6. Okay, now the strain energy due to this axial loading is P into del x by 2. Okay, now P into del x by 2 is 12 20 P square into 10 to minus 6. Okay, so P will cancel out. Okay, now the answer will be then the answer will be 400 option B. 4000 400 sorry. And 400 micrometer, so answer is this. Okay. Next question is the buckling load of a slender column clamped at both the ends is 4000 Newton. The column is subjected to an axial compression. During the course of service, one of the ends gets detached from clamp and becomes free end. Okay. The absolute percentage change in buckling load due to change in end condition is option A 50.00, B 75.00, option C 83.25, option D 93.25. Okay. Initially, both the ends are clamped or clamped and the guard fixed end also. Okay. So, and the usual load is 4 pi square EI by L square. Okay. That is 4000. Okay. Given now, when one of them becomes free, then the indoor load is pi square E by 4L square. So, um, so PE1 by PE2 is ratio PE1 by P2 by the ratio of the formula is 16. So PE1 is given as 4000. So PE2 can be found out. So that is 250 Newton. The change in buckling load is changing from 4,000 to 250, so 4,000 minus 250 into 1,100 by 4,000, so answer is 93.75%. Okay, so option D. Okay, next, this is the next question is the spring mass system as shown in the figure is vibrating with a small amplitude. The natural frequency of the system is m is the mass. Okay, where angle theta. Okay, now option A is root km, B 2 root 2k by m, C 2k cos theta by m, D 2k cos square theta by m. Okay, this can be solved by assuming a small displacement of this mass. Okay, that is x. Okay, and when the displacement x takes place here, then the deflection of spring is x by cos theta, and similarly the reflection of this spring is also x by cos theta because this is perpendicular and this is base. Okay. So the spring force will be acting in this direction, px cos theta, okay, and inertia force will be acting in this direction, and similarly in the spring force will be acting in this direction. Okay, now resolving along x direction because vertical force will cancel out each other. Okay. So mx double dot mx double dot 2kx divided by cos theta into cos theta. So it will cos theta cancel out. Okay, so omega n will be root 2k by m. So option B is the right answer. Next, common data question. Common data for questions 17 and 18. Okay. Two particles P and Q are connected by a rigid tank of negligible mass. This is a rigid tank. Two particles P and Q. Okay. The length of link PQ is root 2r. Length of the link is root 2r. Okay. The inner radius of the ring is r. This is center. This is radius r. Okay. And its center at O as shown in figure. Okay. The particles are allowed to slide freely with negligible friction on the inner surface of a vertical circular ring. Okay. So these particles are allowed to move freely. Okay. On the inner surface. Okay. Of vertical circular ring. The angle theta between this OQ and horizontal x-axis is measured from x-axis in clockwise sense. Okay. This is angle theta. The gravitational acceleration is g. Okay. The two questions are mass of the particle P and Q are m and 2m respectively. The link PQ is released from theta is equal to 0 when the link occupies the horizontal position. The magnitude of velocity of particle P is option A 0.865 g root gr, B 1.865 root gr, C 0.086 root gr, option D 2.865 root gr. Okay. So now in the second question is if both the particles P and Q are of mass m and m, okay, the link PQ is released from theta 0. The maximum possible value of theta during the oscillation of link is A 45 degree, B 90 degree, C 135, D 180. Okay. So now the mass in the question number 17, here the mass is m, here the mass is 2m. Okay. Now first of all we have to find out the we need to find out the acceleration. Okay. Find out the center of mass. Okay. So this length of this link is root 2r. Okay, and m mass m is the mass of particle p, and 2m is the mass of particle at q. Okay, suppose a is the distance of center of gravity from the of this system. Okay, from p. Okay, so then taking moment about p is okay, taking moment about p. Sorry, distance of center of gravity from p. So then 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 3m mass will be acting at A. Okay, so taking moment of P, 2m into root 2r divided by is equal to 3m into A. Okay, so A will be 2 root 2 3 by R. So okay, taking moment here 3m is acting, that is down that is here m 3m into A and 2m into root 2r. Okay, so A will be 2 root 2 by 3 R. Okay, now if A is known and then total length is root 2r, so we can B the distance, other distance, we can find out B. Okay. Now once A and B, what is the purpose of this A and B? So purpose of finding this A and B? By finding A and B, okay, A is the distance of center of gravity from point P and B is the distance of center of gravity from point Q. Once we have found out A and B, we can find out the mass moment of inertia of the system. Okay, how we will then then the formula for moment of inertia is total mass of the system into uh, that distance A and one and other distance B. Okay, the total mass of the system is 3m. Okay, and A is 1n. A is the distance from P and B is the distance from Q. So this is the formula that we have derived in Theory machine. Okay, in balancing of masses. Okay, so MA or equivalent system of masses. Okay, so 3m AB. So putting the value of A and B, we can find out mass moment of inertia of the combined system, that is 4 by 3 mr square. Okay, so as the rotation is involved, okay, as the rotation is involved, so we need this I, okay, and rotation will take place about the center of gravity of the system. Okay, then center of gravity is this, is that a distance A from point P. Okay, so here it is given that so how the rotation will take place. Here the mass is m, here the mass is 2m. Okay, now the rotation will be due to this 2m into distance between them. Okay, for torque, if you, it can be applied like this. Here we apply 2m and here 2m. Okay, this 2m and this 2m will cause rotation, and this 3m will cause translation. Okay, so torque is 2m into 2 root 2r. That distance is root 2r to g. Okay, and force is 3mg at point P. Okay, this is causing translation. Okay, now the the torque will create angular acceleration and or inertia torque, or it will create inertia torque. So this torque will be equal to I alpha. Now equating these two, we can find out alpha. So once the alpha is found, that is 3g by root 2r. Okay. By equating this torque into is equal to I alpha, we can find out alpha. Okay. Now it is given that the the link the link PQ is released from theta is equal to 0, and when the link occupies the horizontal position, okay, the magnitude of the velocity of the particle. So when theta is 0, that is the initial position, okay, And at this, at the given position, the link PQ has occupied the horizontal position. Okay, so angle subtended is this theta. So this is R. Okay, and this dimension is root 2R, and this dimension will be root 2 by 2R. So, and this, sorry, then that is or R by root 2. So this will be R by root 2. So this angle should be 45 because this is R by root 2. This is R by root 2. These two dimensions are equal, so these angles should be equal. So these angles are equal to theta. Okay, so theta is 45, or the given position is the horizontal position. Okay, so theta, so angle traveled is 45. Okay. The angle traveled is 45 degrees. Okay, now the angular, we know the angular acceleration. Okay, and we know the angle traveled. Okay, now initially the angular velocity is zero because it is just placed there. Okay, so using that 2 alpha theta, final Vx square minus sorry, omega x square minus omega I square, we can find out omega f. Okay, putting omega is equal to 0, we can find omega f. Okay, now once the omega f is known, okay, we can find out time to reach this horizontal position also, because Vf is the final angular velocity, or Vi is the initial angular velocity, that is 0. So Vf minus Vi by t is equal to alpha. So the t is equal to, putting the value of omega f, okay, uh, that is this, and alpha is this, you can find out t. Okay, so this is the t. So if the t is known, so we have to find out velocity of p. Okay, velocity of particle at t. Now t is known when the t is the time when this link PQ starts from theta is equal to 0 and reaches at point which is at horizontal position. Okay, now at this horizontal position, the angular velocity is omega f. Okay, omega f, and center is at uh, center is at 2 by 3 root 2 r, that root 2 r, uh, center is at 8. Okay, this is the center is at 8 to root 2 by r by 3. Okay, center of gravity. So the link will rotate about this point. Okay, so putting this value, we can get 1.72 into root gr, that is in the upward direction. That is that vpr will be due to rotation. Okay, now there is translation also. Okay, which is at acceleration due to gravity. Okay, that is equal to g. Okay, so the translation velocity will be vt by t equal to a, because initial velocity is 0, so we can directly put v final as vt. Okay, so here it will be vt. Okay, this vt will be in downward direction, and this vpr will be in upward direction. Okay, so the difference of these two will give net velocity at c. So option A is the correct answer. It is in upward direction. Okay, because net vpr is more than vt. Okay, now 18th question, when the two masses are equal, then there will be no rotation. Okay, so it will travel horizontally, so theta will be 45. Okay, next, so answer will be 18th answer will be 8. Okay, next, consider, sorry, common data for question 19 and 20. A cantilever beam of length 3L is subjected to two forces each of magnitude P as shown in the figure. The collective rigidity of the beam is EI. Assume linear elastic material and small deflection. Question number 19. Which one of the following statement is true? The magnitude of bending moment at in portion AB is 0. B. The magnitude of bending moment in portion AB is PL. C. The magnitude of bending moment in portion AB is 2PL. D. The magnitude of bending moment in portion AB varies linearly from 0 to PL. Okay, question number 20. The friction due to bending at point B is option A PLQ by 3I downward, B PLQ by 2I upward, C PLQ by 6EI downward, D PLQ by 6EI upward. Okay, here the cantilever is given with fixed end. Okay, so at fixed end there is movement as well as reaction. So we have to find out which reaction. Okay, now the to find out the reaction, we need to equate upward load is equal to downward load. So now the upward load and downward load is already equal. Okay, so RA will be 0. Okay, now to find out this reaction at between A B. Okay, first question is okay, the reaction between A and B. Sorry, the movement between A and B. A and B. This is A and B. Okay, so take a take this as x. Okay, okay. Now taking moment from right hand side, so this will be px plus L, that is anticlockwise negative, and this will be px. Okay, that is positive. So px minus px plus L will be minus pl. So answer will be pl. The magnitude is because it will ask they ask for only the magnitude, so answer will be B. Okay, that is equal to PL, and it will remain same, doesn't depend upon X. Next, we have to find out the reflection at point B. The point B is this one. Okay. Now, using Macaulay's method, okay. Now consider X. Now we have this M as PL. Okay. Okay. PL. Okay. So between A and B, it remains constant. At B and A is PL. Okay. So reaction is PL clockwise. Okay. Here for this there will be anti-clockwise. For reactive moment will be clockwise. Okay. So at a distance x, take a point at a distance x between B and C. Okay. Then the uh, moment about this point is M minus P. This is L. Okay, x. The distance will be x minus L. Okay, plus P. Okay, this is anti-clockwise. Sorry. Sorry. This distance will be M positive, and this distance will be and this will be x minus p into x p into x sorry, p into x this distance will be p into x minus l. Okay, so this is anti-clockwise. This will be clockwise p into x minus 12. Okay, now integrating P divided by dx mx px minus L square by 2 plus px minus 12 square by 2 plus C1. Okay, integrating with. Okay, now now by integrating two times we have EI by equation this and EI by equation this. Okay, Now at fixed end, the fixed end is this. Okay. Reflection is 0 and slope is 0. Okay. When we put x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0, we get C2 is equal to 0. When we put x is equal to 0, divided by x is equal to 0, we get C1 is equal to 0. So the general solution is this quantity. Okay. Now at point B, if we want to find out the reflection at point B, okay, at point B, we will put x is equal to L, and then we find out Ey by ml square by Ei. Okay, it will be 0 because it is negative, voltage 0, and it will be 0 because it is negative. Okay, so it will be PLQ by 2 Ei, and it will be upward direction. So it is positive. Okay. PLQ will be 1 by E. Okay, next statement for linked answer question 21 and 22. A steel bar of rectangular cross section is heated uniformly and rise in temperature is del T. The Young's modulus is E, the Poisson's ratio is mu, and coefficient of thermal expansion alpha. The bar is completely restrained in axial direction and lateral direction. The thermal stress developed in the bar along the axial direction is option A, E alpha del T divided by 1 plus mu, B minus E alpha del T, C minus E alpha del T divided by 1 minus mu 2 mu, D E alpha del T mu 1 minus 2 mu. Assume that the bar is allowed to deform freely in lateral direction while keeping the axial direction restrained. The percentage change in magnitude of axial stress for mu 0.25 is option A 0, option B 25, option C 50, option D 100. Okay. So given that the bar is in the first 21st question, the bar is strained in all the directions and the temperature is being increased. And suppose due to this increase in temperature and the strain condition, the sigma is the stress developed in each direction. Okay, then the strain in each direction will be same also. Okay, that is equal to del by L sigma by E minus mu sigma by E and mu sigma by E. So, but the strain is given by alpha into del T. So, equating these two, so sigma is minus alpha del T by del T E by 1 minus 2 mu. Okay, so answer is minus option C. Okay, now when in the question number 22, it is given that lateral direction are not restrained. So it means these surface, there is no restriction. We can expand freely. Okay. So the stress will be only in one portion. Okay. In this direction. So this will be equal to minus alpha delta E. Okay. Minus alpha delta E. Okay. Now and in the previous condition, the stress is minus alpha del T, 1 minus 2 mu. Now putting the value of mu as 0.5, we can get this. Okay, and axis stress is this. So to find out the change, change in stress, sigma minus sigma A divided by sigma. So this will be 50%. Okay, answer is C. Okay, thank you.